All right, here we are, midst of winter, and we're zooming on into chapter 6. And so what I want you to do is, first of all, make sure you have a calculator. We're going to use them a lot in this chapter, and I want it as your handy dandy tool. We'll use it to help us in our computation. And then you can make sure that you've got this heading at the top of your notes, okay? Chapter 6, Section 1. Fractions and decimals and percent. So today we're going to clear the cobwebs, make sure we've got everything just kind of right there. We're remembering how to work with fractions and decimals as percents as ways to represent numbers, do some comparing and ordering. So in fact, today's learning target is all about this. I can. And we are going to compare and order numbers. Okay, and we've been doing that kind of all throughout as we've been talking about things. But specifically, we're going to use 3 different variations or representations of numbers: decimals, fractions, percents. And you should be able to interchange between all of them and then be able to determine greater, smaller, or equal. Alrighty, so let's get started. All right, first of all, I have to see what you remember about percent, okay? Percent. Let's see. I bet you remember what the symbol looks like, huh? It looks something like this. Or sometimes people just write it as 2 circles with a slash like that. All right. And it means percent, or we think of it as per 100. Aha. And that per is kind of like that fraction bar. So really, the way we're going to define this is that this is a ratio. And it's a ratio of 2 numbers. And one of those is locked in, okay? And it has to be 100. So this is a way to represent a number. It's a ratio that compares the number to 100. Compares a number. I'm going to change that to a number. A number to 100. Okay. All right. Now, maybe some words that have this root of cent in there somehow ring a bell and have to do with hundreds. Can you think of any? Last chapter we talked about the metric system, so I think centimeter or centigram, centiliter. Centi is 100. We can think of money. We talk about cents. There are 100 cents in a dollar. Oh, maybe century. That's a good one. 100 years. Centipede. Ugh. 100 legs. Oh, that's too gross to think about. Let's move on. Ew. All right, so I'm going to have you make a huge 3-column chart in your notes. And we're going to talk basically on how to transfer everything or rewrite it between decimals, fractions, and percents. Okay? So get these 3 headings up. Pause if you need to. Put decimal first, then fraction, then percent. And we're going to start with the fractions. Okay? Now, I'm going to start with the fraction 3/5. In fact, if that other stuff is basically just distracting you, let's just do one thing at a time. That's better. Okay, this fraction can be written as a fraction out of 100. Okay, how many is this out of 100? Can you see it? Or you can cross multiply and solve. Okay, and you should end up with this being 60 out of 100. Oh, nice. 60 out of 100 when you have the fraction, then I can write it as the percent. That's per 100. So you just take whatever number here is, and I need you to think that this symbol means divide by 100, percent, per 100. So in a sense, it's the same as this fraction because you're thinking 60 per cent. That's the 100. Okay? All right. 60/100ths is easy to write as a decimal. Hundredths is 2 places, and I just write 0.60. Okay, if you want to put that leading 0 in front, go ahead. I'm not super picky about that. Okay, let's try another one. Oh, just the number 4. hold on. First of all, this is written as a whole number. It might be easier for you to think of this written as a fraction over 1 first. Oh, okay. Yes. Now, can you write that as a fraction out of 100? 4 over 1 equals what per 100? Let's see. You can cross multiply and solve if you think of that as a variable, and you'd get 400 over 100. 400 per 100, 400%. What is this as a decimal? Well, it's 4. If I need to have a little emphasis there, boom, put a decimal point there. There you go. All right, what about this one though? 7/8. You know, if I try to change this to hundredths, Let's see, if you cross multiply and solve that, if I had called this like x or something, take 7 times 100 equals 8 times x, and then you have to divide by 8. And I get something like this, 87 and 5/10 per 100. Really? Can I write that? Normally we wouldn't leave the fraction looking like this, but for writing a percent, we always want it as per 100. So in fact, you'd write 87.5%. Excuse me. But this doesn't make sense as a decimal. Looks a little weird. In fact, and thinking of it this way, you know, usually you like your denominator as tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths to make that look right. We can take care of this decimal and rewrite this particular fraction if I multiply by 10 over 10, because that's just 1. And when I do that, I would get this fraction, 875 over 1,000. 1,000. Aha! That means I have 3 decimal places, 875.875. Oh, yeah. Or if you use your calculator and simply punch in 7 divided by 8, that would give you the decimal. 7 divided by 8. We could go about this way. 7 divided by 8. What? Long division? I bet you don't want to do that anymore. Don't blame you. This is a common one. You get used to that. All right, so if I have the fraction, I'm usually thinking, how can I turn that into hundredths? Because that gives me the percent. Okay. What else have I got here? Oh, how about 1/6? 1/6. If I wanted to turn that into hundredths, what would that be in hundredths? Well, grab your handy dandy calculator. Let's see, because I would get 1 times 100 equals 6 times x here. Okay, if I put that there. So 1 times 100, which is 100, equals 6 times x. Divide both sides by 6, because I want to divide by the variable, or the number, I should say, that's with the variable. And we end up with this value. Let me get all this other stuff out of the way now. Okay, so I end up with 16 point, now look at your display, 0.6666667. Okay, be smarter than your calculator. It's repeating. You have to put that repeating bar in there. The only way you get to round is if you're told it's okay to round. So this 16.6 repeating per 100% is 16.6 repeating percent. Yeah, you can have stuff looking weird like that. Now as a decimal, this one gets a little weird. And when you divide it on your calculator, you get this. 0.166666666. It keeps going. Just put that repeating bar over the 6. All right, let's take a look at the last one that I have here. 4 over 250. Now, that one's not necessarily easy to turn into hundredths, but let's see what happens. If you cross multiply, 4 times 100 equals 250 times x. And you basically end up taking 400 divided by 250. And well, hot diggity, I get 1.6. Now, hold on, this is a very different number. Don't confuse these two. They look a lot alike. This guy repeats and this one doesn't. Decimal points in a different place than this one. 1 6/10%. How do you turn this sucker into a decimal? Well, I could do that on this one because nothing's repeating. So I could just go times 10 over 10 and I end up with 16 over 1,000, which is 0.16. Nope, 0.016. Similar but different. This guy's smaller. Okay. All right. What if you start with the percent? Oh, in some ways, this is kind of nice. Percent. This symbol means take whatever you've got and put it over 100. Make sure it's in simplest form. 80% means 80 per 100. Oh, hang on now. That's not in simplest form. 80 over 100. Divide by 10. I get 8 over 10. I can factor a 2 out. I think you get 4/5 in simplest form. Ooh, this one's tricky. 12.37 over 100. 12.37% per 100. Yeah, there's a problem here because that isn't looking like a really nice decimal, or I should say fraction. Usually we don't leave mixed up decimals in with our fraction. So let's do this. If I multiply by 10, that's in effect moving the decimal point over one place. So if I multiply by 10 again, or in other words, by 100, that would move the decimal point 2 places over. And I'd get 1237 over, not 100, 10 thousandths. Okay. Because really, it's not okay to leave decimals in your fraction, okay? These all started out as fractions. That's why I didn't worry when I was getting some as I was turning them into hundredths. This one, oops, 0.4. I'm going to just write 0.4 over 100. Ooh. Yeah, it's not good to leave it this way. We don't like decimals in either our numerator or denominator. I really want an integer there. So I'm going to multiply by 10 over 10 because 10 over 10 is 1. Like I'm doing the same thing to the top as I am the bottom. And I get 4 over now 1,000. But that's not in simplest form, and our goal is to get it in simplest form. So simplify this. You can divide by 2 and 2 again, or divide all at once by 4, and you get 1 over 250. All right, so if you have the percent, you can change it into fractions. Hey, how about decimal? 29 hundredths. 29 hundredths. I'm going to go to this 80 hundredths because that would give me 0.80. Now 12.3700, no, but 1237, 1,237, 10 thousandths, looks like that. And let's see, I'm going to focus in on this 4 1,000ths. Looks like that. Now, do you notice a pattern with what's going on with the decimal point? I need you to look at something here, okay? Let me go back to this first screen. Grab my highlighter. Okay? When I had the percent 60, it ended up being decimal point 60. When I had 400%, it ended up being just 4 with the decimal point to the right. 87.5% becomes 0.875. 16.6 repeating percent becomes 0.16 repeating. And this one, which said 1.6%, ends up being 0.016. Let's keep looking, see what's happening here. 29% becomes decimal point 29. 80% becomes 0.8 or 0.80. 12.37% becomes 0.1237. 0.4% becomes 0.004. Oh, there's something interesting going on here. It looks like I missed one example that was pretty important though. So I want you to add one more in the percent column that says 7 1/4%. You know what? Do you know what 1/4 is right away? As a decimal? Plug it in. 7.25%. Now it's a little easier because I can write 7.25 per 100. That's not a really good simplest form fraction though. So let's multiply the top and the bottom by 100 because that'll in effect move this decimal point 2 decimal places to the right. And then this would be 10,000. So you get 725 10,000ths. So you have 0.0725. I suppose I should have those leading zeros in there. Now, do you notice what's going on? My decimal point was here between the 7 and the 2. Now it's 2 spots to the left. This one was in front of the 4, and now we get, I'm sorry, it was in front of the 4, and we go 2 spots to the left. This was between the 2 and 3, and now we're 2 spots to the left. 80 goes 2 spots to the left. 29 is now 0.29, 2 spots to the left. So it seems to me it's really easy to go between the decimal and the percent because you just have to remember 2 decimal places. And the easiest way to remember which way? Sing the alphabet song. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. D comes before P in the alphabet. So that way, if you start with the decimal and you're going to the percent, you're going to go this way, 2 spots to the right. Decimal point is here. Put the percent symbol. What is this as a fraction? 29 hundredths. 29 hundredths. Make sure it's in simplest form. Look at this one, 0.7. That means 2 spots to the right. 2 spots to the right. 70. No, hold on, 0.7. 1, 2. Yeah, that's right, 70%. This one, 2 spots to the right, 4.2%. And this one, 1, I'm going to have to add a 0 to get behind at 2 spots to the right. Decimal to percent is pretty easy to convert. What do these look like as fractions? This is the tenths place, 7 tenths. 42 thousandths, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Oh, it's not in simplest form. Hold on. See, I think I can factor a 2 out of there, and I get 21 50ths. Now we're good. 1.3. Well, that means 1 3/10. That's all. There you go. So really, what you're doing is utilizing all these different representations of the same number, and then our goal is to then work at comparing and ordering them. Okay? Hold on. So here, if I give you, gotta get this guy up here. He just doesn't want to move. So if I give you like a chart and I ask you which one's bigger, which one's smaller, if I give you a percent and we're looking for some kind of asking you if it's greater than or smaller than, you just have to go ahead and convert it so you have the same values and then go from there. All right. Your assignment, I want you to check in Schoology. It's going to be some pages in the packet. Alrighty? Good luck, and may the force be with you.